Hello everyone, welcome to my first series regarding scripting. In this episode I'll be going over how to use Studio if you've never used it before, and some different types of scripts as well as some good practices you should know. Besides that, I'll also have some slight background music, so if you guys don't want that, just say so and I'll remove it in my next episode. And besides that, once again, let's get straight into the video. So the first thing I'd like to start with is the Explore and Properties tab, which is these two tabs over here on the right, or Windows. This one called Explorer and this one called Properties. Now if you don't see these, make sure you head over to the View tab. It should be somewhere near the top of your screen, and make sure you click on Explorer and Properties, these two on the left, and it should open up two windows. Now if they're not on the right, I recommend moving them to the right, because it will just make it much easier later on and more convenient when you need to navigate Studio. Besides that, I want to get into these things over here and actually in the Explorer called Services. Now I won't be explaining them much in this episode, and sometime actually later on. All I want you guys now is to open up the workspace, which you can do by clicking this tiny arrow. Now inside the workspace, I've actually created a part already by clicking this here. What it's going to do is it's going to insert this part here into our workspace. This is our workspace. Now in this workspace, we have base plate and part that I've created. Well, base plate comes by default, but besides that, we have these two parts here. Now I actually want to explain what children and parent are, because they're going to be very useful later on in scripting when you need to access things. So that's why I'm going to explain them. So for example, our base plate and part are actually children of the workspace because they're in the workspace. You can see this indent here, meaning it's inside something. Now we can go even further into things. For example, if we drag this part into this base plate, we can see that part, its parent, is now base plate, and a child of base plate is part. So hopefully that makes sense. I just wanted to quickly explain that because it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be very useful later on. Now I want to get into the properties, which we opened up. Now, and for example, if I click on this part or any of these things, they all have different properties. If we look here, they all have different settings, different things. That's what they are. They're pretty much settings. Hopefully that makes sense. And all these settings do different things. For example, this part, if we open it up, we can change the color, or we can change transparency, anything to do with the part. We can change its position, name, orientation, parent. There's a bunch of different settings. So hopefully that makes sense with properties, and I'm going to move to the next thing now. So now I want to explain the difference between local and server scripts. So for example, if I make a server script here by clicking add, I have a server script. I can also make a local script. Now let me explain the difference between these two, because it is very important that you understand this, and I don't want to move into the next episode without you guys knowing this. So a server script will allow you to run things on the server, and a local script will allow you to run things on the client, which I'll explain further now. So a server script, let's say we made a part through the script. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to add these parts here into Studio manually by myself, but let's say we did add them through the script, like we programmed them in. Everyone playing the game, so every single player, let's say you had 30 players in the game, all 30 of them will be able to see these parts that we just added. But if we made it in a local script, which is it will only show on the client. So if we made a part or inserted a part through the local script, then only the client see that. And pretty much in simple terms, all the client is like the person sitting behind the screen actually playing. So just one person. So if we did, once again, if we made this part on the local script, not everyone is going to see it, only that one out of the 30 people. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, that's pretty much this episode. I want to keep it short so you guys can move straight into episode 2, which will go further into detail into actually scripting, like variables, functions, navigating Studio for scripts, all that good stuff. Besides that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions, make sure you comment down below and I'll try my best to get back to you. See you.